Мой гора любимый, родина Кавказ, там в горах высоких я барашков пас.
Hey guys, Jackal Ejector here, and today we're covering the M.B.157. It got buffed last update to double its ammo count from 60 to 120 rounds per gun, so let's see how it does. For its flight performance, it's really good. It does just about everything quite well. It doesn't have the tightest turn circle, but it rates, climbs, and speeds all very well for a 3.3 plane. Even its flaps are good. The only two negatives I have about its flight performance is that its roll is a bit sluggish, but it is still quite decent and workable. And secondly, that its engine overheats, so you want to be using manual engine control to open your radiators. What seems to work best for me is keeping the oil and engine radiators open to its maximum, keeping prop pitch at 100%, and then lowering prop pitch to 85 if your engine starts to overheat. The open radiators do cause some drag, so if you need to be as fast as possible, you can switch back to auto or close your radiators to reduce drag. The guns, for some reason, on this plane work incredibly well. I don't know what they've changed about them recently, but the French Hispano 404s have given me some of the most consistent one-shots I've had in a while. They do still on occasion give you minimal damage, but 95% of the time they will shear off wings and tails like there's no tomorrow. They also have a higher muzzle velocity and fire rate than the British Mark IIs and Mark Vs, so they are a lot easier to aim and land multiple shots with. So my experience with these two Hispanos has been significantly better than when I was using the 4 Hispanos on the Typhoon, even with the ground target belts. So how do you play this thing? Honestly, however you want. This thing is quite good and forgiving of mistakes, and as long as you don't intentionally put yourself into terrible positions, it can kind of just do everything. Obviously, don't turn fight with I-16s or Zeros, but with flaps, you can pretty comfortably turn and rate with most of your competition. It can be a little close with Yaks, P-39s, P-63s, and 109Es, but generally players aren't that experienced at this BR, so I haven't really run into threats that I couldn't deal with. Performance-wise, there are plenty of planes that can definitely out-dogfight you when you are in an up-tier, like the Puremirsky, Yak 3, Typhoons, and others, but I don't think I got a single full up-tier playing this. It was almost always 3.0 to 4.0 matchmaker, which is a very comfortable place for this plane. The one plane that still does outcompete you in this area is the Ki 44, which is basically just your plane, but with an extra 6 meters per second climb rate. But I think we all know that the plane is grossly under-tiered, and I've also never run into them into a dogfight, so I guess I can count myself lucky. One other enemy to potentially worry about are the P-38s, which get an air spawn, so will often be above you, but as long as you can dodge their initial attacks and engage them on equal energy, you shouldn't have too many problems with them. So I think I'll actually be giving this plane my first S tier. Incredibly strong for its battle rating. It could probably go up and be fine, though that's when it's more likely to be facing stronger opponents, like the Puremirsky. One thing that I will note is that it is a little difficult to gauge really how well this plane competes in a live dogfight against skilled players, since 3.0 to 4.0 is usually newer players. So I'm not entirely sure how much of the success I've been getting in these games should be attributed to the plane, or just me being more experienced as a pilot than these competitors. But you saw in this match that the Hispanos are really good at just shearing wings off, shearing tails off. I probably could have one-shot that P-47 as well if my aim was good. Either way, the match is over, it's just one bomber left, so I decide to leave early by J'ing out. And I will be showing one dogfight to highlight one weakness that this plane does have, but it's hard to call it a weakness, it's just generally how matches go in ARB. And you guessed it, it's my least favorite way to play ARB, energy fighting against somebody who knows how to defensive fly. The B-239 turns very well, so I won't be able to turn fight him, but I do outclimb and outspeed him, so this is just about the only fight that I can force here. I do start with the energy advantage, so I'm able to go up and down over him, but inevitably this just turns into the standard back and forth. I do think I've grown a tolerance for this kind of gameplay because of having to play something like the Kika or the I-225, but I still can't really say that I enjoy this kind of gameplay, spending all this amount of time trying to go after one target when I probably could go after somebody else. But at this point we're already too far away from all the enemies, and if I turn back he's just going to come after me again, so it's not going to really be productive. So I am kind of forced to just sit here and babysit this guy, hoping that he makes a mistake or gets frustrated and decides to take a risk. And it is technically the correct way for him to play it, but the more I play this way, the more it feels just like a waste of time, especially since it looks like he's running back to his airfield. And every single time I go in towards him to investigate, he's just flying back to his airfield. Since he's not taking the initiative on taking a risk, I might as well be the one to step it up and make an attempt. But honestly, this is less a competition of skill and more a competition of patience, seeing who's less willing to waste their time and who's more interested in just getting into the next battle, so they don't have to deal with this boring crap and roll for a better engagement. Because I have been chasing this guy for like 5 minutes, I'm gonna actually try and make an attempt here. He's flying sort of in my direction, so this could potentially be an easy shot. And well, yeah, sometimes the guns still are inconsistent. It seems less dependent on what plane you're firing at and more dependent on connectivity issues. You'll see in a bit, but This happens again in one of the next matches, and it's very apparent. Anyways, this guy RTBs, and I don't really get anything else done in this match. Wow, what a great use of my time. Okay, first full match. I climbed straight into the battlefield, and I couldn't really find anybody, so I flew off to the side and I found this I-185. I-185 also has good climb, but they fly more like a focke-wulf. They have a pretty poor turn, so if this guy decides to stick the dogfight, then I might be able to kill him here. He does also have the option of extending, but he isn't flying straight away from me, he's going at an angle, so I might be able to get a shot here. He's also maneuvering, which is making it easier for me to close the distance. Well, he's pitching down, which means that he isn't committing to running away completely. It seems like he might be zero throttling, so I drop throttle so I can stick behind him. He was probably trying to force an overshoot, so I'm just going to stay above him, maintain my energy, and hope that he tries to pitch up for me. And it looks like he's going for it. I'm going to try and bait him up, see how much I can energy trap him. It does have very potent guns though, so I misjudged his energy a little bit, and he could have very well killed me there, but I was making it very difficult for him to shoot me by minimizing my profile area. And if I continue this turn, then I should be able to get on him again. Seems like he's dipping down, so I'm going to try and quicken the time it takes for me to get on his 6 by looping over and using flaps. I've got a friendly M.B.157 as well in the area, so I guess that's why he's diving away. I'm going to see if I can get this kill before my friendly does. I'm going to dive as straight down as possible to try and gain as much speed as I can quickly. If the I-185 does dive though, there's a good chance that he will be able to outrun us. Though while I'm watching this footage back, I'm realizing that it's an I-185 M82, so he's the 3.7 variant that has less engine power, and so I don't think he actually does outrun us. Anyways, I miss a lot of rounds, but I do eventually get him. And it's on to the next target. There are a lot of enemies just taking off from the airfield right now, and while there are still enemies around the battlefield, I think it's probably a priority to try and deal with these enemies that are just leaving the airfield right now. My friendly M.B.157 goes to deal with the other enemies, so I want to make sure that he doesn't get third-partied and interrupted by the people just leaving the airfield right now. I'm starting with an energy advantage, but there are quite a lot of enemies here, so I'm gonna have to play it carefully if I want to make sure that I can deal with them and also not get shot down by their AA. I have the ammo, so I'm gonna go for a quick head-on. Unfortunately, no hits. I should be able to loop on over with him though. I have much more energy than him. I'm gonna use flaps to quicken the top of my loop. I don't know if I'll quite be able to pull in onto him here, but I am definitely gaining a lot of position. Oh wow, he's really stalled out. I don't think he's going to be able to pitch back down before I can get to him. But we are also getting very close to each other, so I might not have a good shot. Yeah, I only get some hits. This cannon stang is coming up for me as well, so I'm going to have to try and stall him out. Okay, it looks like I'm safe for now. I should be able to loop over here and then see who I need to attack next. I don't want to dive down on anyone just quite yet. It looks like that I-185 might be coming back up to commit to me, so that would be my ideal target if he decides to stall himself out. Okay, just gotta make sure that I dodge all of his rounds. This is kind of sketchy, and if his aim is good, he might be able to take me out, but fortunately I survive. And this should be a good opportunity for me to just drop straight back onto him. Enemy Mosquito coming in, that's very dangerous, but I don't know if I'll get a better chance to turn this 3v1 into a 2v1, so I'm going to have to take the shot right now. Nice, the guns work this time, but I need to get out of here right now. A lucky shot from that Mustang or that Mosquito could send me back to the hangar. It looks like that Mosquito is far enough away, but this Mustang is still pretty close, so I'm gonna keep dodging. Enemy Thunderbolt also on the way. And I do outrun them temporarily, but that Mustang will eventually be able to catch up to me, so at some point I'm going to have to turn back. I definitely won't have enough space to shallow climb and try and regain an energy advantage over them. At least not one that's significant enough that'll help me in a dogfight. So it's gonna have to turn into a turn fight. Mustang can turn quite well, especially with flaps, but it also has a pretty poor energy retention, so there is a chance that I can make this 2v1 work. I'm gonna dodge downwards to make it difficult for them to shoot me. Then I'm gonna dodge right to left underneath the Mosquito to make it hard for him to hit me, and then it's going to be a rate fight. I did have to fly straight after dodging the P-51 so that I could dodge the Mosquito as well. So the P-51 is starting with a bit more position than he normally would if this was a 1v1, but Mosquito makes the mistake of turning with me instead of extending away for a reset for a boom and zoom attack. So I'm able to set him on fire really quickly, but having to aim for that Mosquito is also going to put me in the guns of the P-51, so I go for a bit of a risky dodge underneath, and now it's a one-circle scissors fight. The P-51 could definitely turn inside of me here, but I'm going to be using flaps to try and stay inside of him. I'm pretty sure that critical was on the Mosquito, so I don't think I did anything significant to the Mustang. Oh, in this round I was using Universal. I think I like the tracer belts a lot better. I don't know what it is, but they do seem to one-shot a lot more. And I'm also not using mech this round. Anyways, I'm pretty low on ammo right now, so I'm trying to tap fire to get this guy. I do hit him a few times, but it's not significant. I feel like if I was using the tracer belts, I probably would have killed him faster. But my friendly is able to finish him off faster than I could. Rather unfortunate. It would have been nice to kill both of them since I was the one dogfighting them, but you can't really fault the M.B.157 for that. Anyways, I RTB to rearm and the match is basically over at this point, so that's GG. Considering this is my first match in this plane, I think it was a really good first impression. Next game, I've side climbed a little bit and I see a very juicy Yum Yum, so I'm going to go after him because I don't see any other fighters around the area. And I climb a bit more until this horde of enemies is spotted at altitude. I don't have any friendlies up here to help me, so I'm going to fly off to the side a little bit until it looks like they're not coming after me. I was also hoping I could bait one of them towards me, but I was unfortunately not successful. They all decide to dive into the furball and then all my teammates are basically dead at this point. So I guess American teams on EU servers can be pretty bad if you're looking at low tiers. But either way, I'm stuck here in a 1v, I don't know how many enemies there are here. I would have tried to dive in and help, but I'm not confident that this plane can easily escape enemies, purely using my speed because there are quite a few enemies that can turn quite well, and so they could feasibly try and get on my 6 immediately after. Plus I can only attack one enemy at a time, so there's a good chance that somebody will see me coming and pre-position to get me on my way out. The most convenient target right now is this ME410. He's not the most dangerous one, but he's the most isolated and directly under me, so I'm just gonna put a few rounds into him and then pitch back up. Unfortunately, this does draw the attention of quite a few enemies, including this I-16, who I did not see. He is very close behind me, and if one of his 20mm Shavaks hit me, then I could be very dead. But luckily, I did come in with enough speed to be able to escape both of these guys comfortably. However, that does not mean that it's safe for me to turn back and try and dogfight them, especially since the I-16 very easily outturns me, and I'm not coming into this fight with an energy advantage if I do bleed it all in one turn to re-engage. So for now, I'm going to keep climbing and stay close enough to spot them. Maybe I can get them to follow me until except for one of them peels off and I can dogfight them individually. There was an I-16 that was quite high up, 6 kilometers away from me, and if he comes after me while I try to engage this Focke-Wulf, I could be in danger, but it looks like he went away, so I'm going to try and kill this guy right now. Not all that difficult of a fight, considering the Focke-Wulf is a pretty poor dogfighter. I'm going to try and close the distance and see how close I can get. I do still have quite a bit of ammo, but I don't want to waste it, especially since I have to deal with as many enemies as possible right now. And I guess a lot of the enemies just died or crashed. I could have sworn there were a bunch that were spotted, but the leaderboard says there's only 3 left, which is very manageable, especially since they're all very spread out now. So first I'm going to go after this Focke-Wulf, and then it's going to be onto the Yak-1 and I-16. I am most concerned about the Yak-1 since he's probably the closest to me in performance, and if I have to dogfight him with the I-16 around, then that could be very dangerous. A bit of a risky head-on. If I'd led right, I probably could have killed him right there, but I was trying to find the right moment to pull off since he was looking for a head-on there, and even still he manages to nick my wing. But either way, this should still be a pretty easy fight. I really did not have to take that risk there. It does look like he's going to be able to pitch up inside me here, so I'm going to pull off and avoid the head-on. No point in taking it if I can just loop on over him again and wait for a better shot. Okay, he's not following me up, so I should be safe to pitch back down onto him. He seems more concerned about going after AI targets still, so at this point it's just a matter of closing the distance and getting a shot on him, since now I'm definitely planted on his 6 and he's not going to be able to escape. Took a few more rounds than I thought I would need, but I still have over half of my ammo left, so it's still plenty to spare. And now onto the I-16 and Yak-1. I'm going to check their short airfield first, and here they are. I wasn't able to get to them while they were on their airfield, so they have taken off. So it's probably not a great idea for me to head straight in. I'm going to want to come in with an energy advantage because I do not outturn an I-16, and a 2v1 is dangerous either way, so I'm going to try and start this fight with as much energy as possible. Ideally enough altitude that I can stay above them and they won't be able to shoot at me without me being able to dive back down on them and kill them. It's gonna be a little close though. That I-16 is already getting quite close. And since I'm going pretty slow, if they were a good shot, they might have been able to take me out at a kilometer away, but because they're getting pretty close, I'm going to start dodging. And that Yak-1B is fully committing, so I'm going to try and drop down here before that I-16 can turn around and get me. Okay, that's the Yak-1B down, but that I-16 is getting very close. I need to get out of here as quickly as possible. I'm definitely faster than the I-16, but I don't want to just run away at the moment. I want to make sure that I get an energy advantage. I think the I-16 also has a pretty substantial climb rate, so I won't be able to outright climb him, but because my ideal climb speed is going to be faster than his, he's also going to have to juggle the priority of trying to stay close behind me. And if he also tries to climb at his ideal speed, then he's going to let me gain enough distance that I can turn back and fight him in the dogfight again. So I'm going to stay around 300 kph IAS, and it looks like he's potentially already just trying to stay below me, sacrificing energy to try and close the distance and maybe potentially stall up for me for a shot. But no, he's definitely not going to be able to catch me in any manner now. He's too slow, and he's also not climbing optimally, so... At this point, now that I've reestablished the energy advantage, I'm just going to be able to turn above him and then get right onto him. And unless he goes for a head-on here, he's not going to be able to get a shot. Okay, he is going for the stall shot, and he is approaching. Now seems like a good time to drop back down onto him. It looks like he's delaying his stall actually a little bit. It looks like he still has some speed to turn left, but now that I'm planted behind him, he's not going to be able to pull up for the shot. And that's the final kill. The enemies played it about as well as they could, but this plane is a little too powerful for 3.3. Definitely makes a good argument for a plane that could potentially go to 3.7. Next match, I've already used 60 rounds trying to hit a bomber that was 1.5 kilometers out, and I missed all my shots, so... That sucks, but I still got ammo. 2 I-185s. I think the lower one's going after the Wellington, so I'm gonna go after the higher one. Surprisingly, he's not taking the head-on. He's flying off to the side, actually. I'm gonna try and lead my shots. Unfortunately, I missed all of them, and the Wellington's tail falls off, but... I'm able to shear this guy's wing off with one clean burst. There wasn't really anybody else worth going after at high altitude, so I'm diving down. There's quite a bit of furball going on down here. And this Focke-Wulf seems very outnumbered, so I'm gonna see if I can help here. The most dangerous of these targets is the Ek-9 since he can actually dogfight, but I'm gonna try and take out the P-40 first since he's the one on the Focke-Wulf 6. And somehow the Focke-Wulf is still alive. You can see that when going fast your roll tends to be a little funky. I think it's because the rudder also compresses, but it's really not big enough of an issue that it gets in the way of you aiming your shots. At least not too much. A36 next. He doesn't seem to be coming towards this way, so I should have a pretty easy shot here, and I think the Ek-9 is being dealt with, so I'm not worried about my 6. Severe, I think he's lost something in his tail, so I'm gonna leave him alone for the time being and deal with the other two. B239 definitely can outturn me, so I do want to be careful not to overshoot and get him on the first run. But he's going pretty slowly, and he's turning very predictably, so I should be able to get these shots down. Yep. Not the most impressive fight, but that's still 3 easy kills. I'm gonna see what other targets I can go for now. All the other enemy fighters died to my friendlies, so this last enemy is this DV3 at altitude, so I'm going to try and put a few shots into him and see if I can kill him. I am pretty low on ammo, so I want to try and get these shots down, but for some reason I'm only getting hits. You can see that one sparked, but it didn't register. That one also just sparked. More sparks. Really weird, I don't know why this is happening. But he is turning, so I should be able to make better use of my last 50 rounds. I'm gonna wait till I get closer. More hits. Okay, finally a fire. More hits. More hits. More hits. Well, now I'm out of ammo, and he hasn't even taken a critical or a severe, so I split this footage up by 8 times. I'm just going to meander around and hope that his wing eventually falls off. I can't really tell if this is a ghost fire or not, but he does eventually take a severe, so it does actually exist. And so thankfully he does go down. Is that bomber just supposed to be tanky, or... I don't know what the problem there was. These guns worked fine on anything else. In the next match, we're going to see an even worse example of this. Once again, side climb. The only enemy at altitude on this side of the map is this P-36, so I'm going to take a quick head-on. Side slipping to make it easier for me to get out of the way and hit. Kind of underwhelming considering I've seen what these guns usually do. P-36 does turn very tightly, so I do want to avoid trying to stay in front of him. I'm going to be above and make sure that I can drop down on him. He did have to climb up to me to take that head-on, so he's already getting pretty slow. This should be a pretty easy shot if I don't miss my rounds. And I feel like that also felt like it took more rounds than it needed. I don't know if I'm getting unlucky now or what. Anyways, they fly around a little bit more. There's this Focke-Wulf 190 being engaged by a friendly, so I'm going to see if I can take the kill here as well. Did I miss those? Did he fly through my round? What's going on? Gonna try and turn back for another shot. Friendly J-22 is also on the way, so ideally I want to get this done real quick. Hits. I should pretty easily be able to get on his 6 right now, though. And you can see him jumping around a lot right now, having very stuttery movements, rubber banding, his roll in particular. Were those hits? Did I even damage anything on him? I guess EU servers also aren't immune to desync and rubber banding. my god, that was painful. I'm down to 40 rounds. This would lead me to believe that the network issues are the main cause of these HE belt bugs. Anyways, even though I only had 40 rounds left, I decided to go after the enemies because I feel like I could probably make good use of these ammo if they do work. So I catched this P-51 that was trying to land, and now I'm into a dogfight with the P-63. Fire a few in the head-on. It doesn't really discourage him, but it was worth a shot. Now the P-63 is actually pretty close in performance to me, so he might be able to hang with me here. I'm going to avoid using flaps to keep my speed and maintain my energy until I see an opportunity for me to pull in and take a shot. I am pretty sure that I outrate him, so if this continues then I should be able to get on his 6 pretty easily. Okay, this seems like a good chance. I'm diving down a little bit to gain more speed and increase my turn, using landing flaps, and I'm gonna pull in for a shot now. Hopefully these guns work this time. Nice. So is it just that Focke-Wulf that had poor internet or something? Everybody else seems to be doing fine here, other than maybe the P-36 at the start of the match, but he still went down after 2 bursts. These results are wildly inconsistent, and I don't really know what to think of them. Anyways, I'm just too late to kill this last bomber, so I'm trying to go for a pilot snipe for an assist, and, well, that's a very interesting way to go out. But that's all I have for you today. You should definitely try this plane out, it's quite fun. Hopefully the guns work at least as consistently as they did for me. Anyways, that's all for now. Bye-bye.